Hi, I'm Bob Spagnoletti, CEO of the DC Bar. Through the years, the Bar has played an important role in establishing a pipeline to the legal profession, and we continue to expand our efforts to cultivate future generations of lawyers. So I'm thrilled to announce that this year marks the 20th anniversary of the Youth Law Fair, our free educational program that brings together the DC Bar, the DC courts, attorney volunteers, and local high school students. We look forward to your continued support in guiding future lawyers.
The Youth Law Fair is an annual event which introduces area youth to the law. It's hosted by DC Bar Communities and the DC Superior Court. Taking place every March, the event allows high school students to tour the DC Superior Court, meet lawyers and judges, discover new educational and career opportunities, and take part in a mock trial. Now celebrating its 20th year, the Youth Law Fair has hosted thousands of students and explored engaging topics for young people, including free speech, knowing your rights, using technology wisely, and more.
The Youth Law Fair is a program designed to expose young people to the law, how it really works, what it does and how it does it. And it's a hands-on experience that we do. So we have a mock trial that we develop for them, and we tell them how that is going to work and teach them the parts that they're going to play. So they play roles like defendant, prosecutor, judge, and we have attorney volunteers that guide them on what their roles are and how to play those roles. And they play the roles, and then they get a chance to ask questions and understand how the law works.
Perhaps the most difficult task in working with the fair is actually coming up with the general problem, so to speak. Once you get the problem in mind, then it kind of writes itself, because you can go back and forth with your characters. It's kind of like writing a short novel, so to speak. And I rely upon my courtroom experience to create situations that are unclear. So somebody's got the jurors can decide where they think the truth lies. And working with the committee as a whole, they decide on where they would like the theme to be, so to speak. It might be drug prevention, or it might be to focus on the impact of social media. Think about, still in the kids, think about what you're doing, and part of my use of the word kids, but from my perspective, they're kids. And just to get them thinking about something in the course of a year. So the committee as a whole comes up with a theme, and then I sort of put the skeleton on the body.
Created to address youth truancy and engage them in the legal system, the Youth Law Fair was first held in March 2000 with the theme, Can They Do That? Learn the Law. Judge Melvin Wright, founder of the Youth Law Fair, and Candace Smith Tucker of the DC Bar recall the foundation and early years of the Youth Law Fair.
Judge Wright, we should call him the friend of the Youth Law Fair. Judge Wright has been supportive of this annual event that has been in existence now for 20 years. And so in celebrating this time where we have had this partnership with the courts for this amount of years, 20, it's quite remarkable when you think about the effort that goes behind it. Judge Wright is one of our leaders in the judiciary. Although now retired, he gave us the opportunity and the platform to see the importance of, bringing themes to the youth, showing them how the law impacts them, and bringing them into the circle of access. So for that, Judge Wright bringing in his judicial colleagues, it's just been a phenomenal opportunity and experience to be a part of for 20 years.
It was a little nerve-wracking for all of us because no one had ever done this before. We didn't know whether the students would actually show up. One of the reasons we decided to do these in the early spring was that we knew if we did it later in the year and it was a nice day, they may not want to come to the courthouse. On the other hand, if we get too deep into winter, it'd be too cold, they wouldn't want to come. So March was a good time of the year to do it. It was also really near spring break, so sometimes some weeks they would be off, and it was a great opportunity to give them something to do at the end of their week.
It's a very busy day. The DC Bar and the DC courts, they start months in advance, and the planning committee as well. And it just goes very quickly. The kids get tours of the court. They get to see C10, which is the jail in the basement of the court. They also get to see cell blocks behind some of the judges' chambers. Then you go into the mock trial, and it's a very short period of time, and it's always very impressive to see children and the adults that are there to help them really get into it and really want to do their best. And they get very competitive, the prosecution against the defense. Even the jury members, you can tell they're paying attention because they want to hear the facts. And there's also a student that is a judge that works with one of the judges that volunteers for the day.
It's really interesting to see the interchange between the lawyer, the students, the police officers, and also the judge as part of that discussion as well after the mock trial is over, before they go into the atrium.
They get to see how the law works, why it's necessary from the perspective of not somebody getting arrested, not that there was a shooting over there or anything like that, but simply hear it what it does, and here you could see it, not you getting arrested, but seeing why people get arrested, how the arrest works, and what are people's rights and people's obligations.
Because it gives local DC students a positive opportunity to interact with the DC courts and really learn a bit of the law that they may not know before.
I think students should attend because they get an opportunity to network. I don't know if networking is something that's really pushed as a big advantage for students for the youth law fair, but there are going to be a lot of attorneys there. There's going to be a lot of volunteers and community members for a wide variety of organizations. Judges will be there. So it's just a great opportunity to just walk up to someone, introduce yourself, maybe let them know that you're interested in learning more about a particular area of the law or something related to the law, and say that you have some availability, like you would love to maybe intern for a day or maybe come for spring break or your winter break. So I think it's just a great opportunity to really interact because all eyes will be on youth that day, and it's a day where they should feel very comfortable speaking up and introducing themselves to folks.
The success of the Youth Law Fair rests on the support of its volunteers, including attorneys and judges, the Metropolitan Police Department, DC Bar staff, and other legal and business partners who contribute their time to the event. Here are just a few of these volunteers sharing their experiences and insights about the Youth Law Fair.
As a volunteer, I think what's a really good benefit is just having a reminder that the youth that are attending don't know everything, and that it's critical to continue to teach them about the law and make sure that they're equipped with just general knowledge and sort of even information about how to find out information that they don't know about the law. I think a lot of times with social media and with the TV shows out there and even movies, there are still, even today, an increase in court scenes and even court scenes dealing with youth, but we shouldn't assume that students know everything about the law still. So I think it's just a good place to kind of see what kind of questions come up, because while as a volunteer you'll see sort of a look of surprise, or you'll see sort of the inquiry when they're dealing with a fact pattern, and maybe they'll have a question about why that was included or why that line of questioning is the way it is. So it's just a good reminder that we need to continue to make sure that everyone, including students that are going to be our rising citizens, know about the law.
It's also a great benefit for lawyers because there is a tendency as you go along in your career, there is a tendency to get a little bit stale. It's like, oh, I'm doing the same old thing. You lose a bit of your enthusiasm. When you see students really enjoying what you do, asking questions. It harkens back to when you were their age and how you got interested in the legal profession, and their enthusiasm, and it kind of rekindles your enthusiasm. So there's a great advantage to the lawyer to participate in the youth fair. And it's just an enjoyable activity. Even putting aside, just spending a few hours with high school kids, especially as you grow further and further away from high school, it's an enjoyable activity.
For example, one year I worked with, it was a very shy young girl, and when she got up and I was standing right beside her and we were going over the direct questions, she just got really into it. She just really perked up, and it was really rewarding for me to see that, okay, this is building this young woman's confidence in a way that it may not have been if she hadn't been at the Youth Law Fair Day.
My fondest memory from the Youth Law Fair is when we had this girl who looked so young. She looked like she was 10, but she really wasn't. And she was really commandeering the courtroom, and she demanded respect and really was a great performer in the mock trial, and everybody was just like, and she had the cutest red bow on her hair, but she was so prepared and so well spoken and really took to the role, and that's one of my fondest memories.
Well, what we enjoy most is having an opportunity to create relationships with our young people, as well as having the opportunity to grow our relationships with the partners who are also involved with the Youth Law Fair.
My fondest memory of the Youth Law Fair is just seeing the fact patterns come to life. We've tackled some pretty heavy topics such as teen domestic violence, bullying, the marijuana laws and how they affect minors in the city. Right after the Michael Brown shooting, one of our Law Fair mock trial fact patterns was racial profiling and mistaken identity. And it was a really on topic and on trend issue at the time, and it allowed the students to tackle something that affected them every day.
Having been involved in this from the beginning, it feels like one of my children that I've watched grow over the years. We've had many great topics that we've talked about. We've talked about situations involving cell phones. We've learned a lot about how to avoid trying to be recruited by gangs, what their experiences are and how they feel about it. So it opened our eyes in terms of what we as adults can do simply by listening to what the children have to tell us instead of preaching to them.
So 20 years, it feels really good to be celebrating 20 years. Thinking about all those things and what we've accomplished in 20 years, it feels exciting, remarkable. I'm hoping we can do it for another 20 years, and just very thankful for all those who have participated in making that happen.
One of the great champions of the Youth Law Fair was Curtis Etherly Jr. of Coca-Cola, who served as a recurring host of the fair and provided close support over the years before his passing in 2018. Curtis's impact on the fair was tremendous, and his passion, intellect, humor, and generosity will be remembered and felt in future youth law fairs.